real journalists who reported real facts and real news, and to Kelly McCauley, who is the most careful watchdog of our money of any MP on Parliament Hill. I'll tell you a funny story. The government published a budget, and it had a table of spending items in it with a total at the bottom. And there were about, 40 items on that particular table. 40 items with lots of big numbers, millions and millions of dollars, each one of them. But it turned out that the items, this did not add up to the total. And nobody in the finance department, of all the thousands of bureaucrats, nobody in the minister's office, not even the finance minister himself had noticed this error of arithmetic. There was only one person in all of Ottawa who caught the mathematical error, and that was Kelly McCauley. So it is very good to have somebody who's looking at the numbers. So it was a very embarrassing moment. They had to actually republish the whole budget to make the arithmetic correction to the numbers that Kelly had found out. And I want to thank all of you, this wonderful Filipino community, for especially Amy. Where did Amy now go? Where is she now? Oh, there she's hiding over there. Amy, for her years of friendship and constantly working to build my relationship with the Filipino community here in Edmonton and in Vancouver. The Filipino community embodies everything great about Canada. Hard work, faith, family, freedom, determination. Yes. Belief in God, a determination to work hard every day to make a maximum contribution to raise your families with very good, solid values. That is what the Filipino community continues to bring to our country. We've been very blessed by the waves and waves of Filipino immigrants who've settled in Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg, the GTA, Vancouver. We are very blessed to have such wonderful allies and friends who are building our country. And they came here, we're gonna have Klondike Days here soon, which is a celebration of Edmonton's role as the main trade post and transit town for those who were heading up to the north to strike gold. And it was a great risk to go and try and strike gold. You go up, you travel long distances. This was well before there were airplanes. So people were traveling part by train, part by horse and carriage into a very difficult wilderness. And the hope was that they might, just maybe, get their hands on some gold. But they were taking an enormous risk, including with their lives. And that was really the story of Canada, early Canada. People took great risks to travel across the oceans to start lives here in the hopes that they would strike gold. And for most of us, it happened. We didn't have literal gold, but metaphorical gold, where we got a house, a safe street, a family, good food on our table every night, freedom to practice our faith. That was the promise of Canada. You work hard, you get good things, homes, food, and everything else. And that really is what we came here as Canadians over the last century to build. But unfortunately, that promise is increasingly broken. Our young people can no longer afford homes. The housing costs have risen faster than the wages. Gas and groceries are now out of reach, and people can no longer afford a basic life. We have 2.2 million people lined up at food banks. 25% of our population lives in food insecurity. Many cutting back their diets and eating unhealthy food because it's all they can afford to buy. Heavily processed, downgraded diets that are the only things that they can actually afford. Well, we believe that Canadians deserve better than that, and that's why Conservatives have three major priorities: affordability, affordability, affordability. We want you to afford food, afford homes, afford fuel, afford all of the basics, and then some. We want this to be, once again, a country where we can launch opportunity for everyone. Anyone who wants to start a business, raise a family, build a life should be able to do so. We have very practical plans on how to reverse the cost of living crisis the Liberals have dropped on us. We want to cut back on the excessive spending on bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, corporate welfare, handouts to insiders, so that we can bring down the deficit, the inflation, and the taxes for our people. We're fighting for zero tax on gas for the rest of the year, not just to bring down your cost at the pump, which it will by 25 cents a liter, or $20 a fill up, or $1,200 by Christmas, but also to lower the cost of everything that is delivered in a truck. Because if you got it, a truck brought it. And when you have high fuel costs, everything else goes up. So let's get rid of the tax on our fuel and on our trucking. And we also want to bring down, I think that little one is very upset about his share of the national debt. Getting anxious. Anyway, we want to bring down the money printing, because when they print money to fund their deficits, we end up with inflation. And that's why you see your prices seem to rise again and again and again, year after year. We can no longer accept that kind of inflation. It is far too expensive, and it's been far too expensive for far too long. So we want to also incentivize our municipalities to speed up permits, free up land, so that we can build homes that our young people can afford. Take the GST completely off home building with a full exemption, not just a rebate, but a full exemption, so that it's more affordable to buy homes. We want to cut income taxes and take the GST off resold cars. Because right now when you buy a used car, you have to pay GST again and again and again. Even if the car is sold 4 times, you pay tax every single time. We think it should be one and done, and that would save you about $2,000 on the purchase of a used car. We also want to restore safety in our communities. Right now, it is there's too much crime because of the liberal catch and release justice system. We want to repeal liberal bail and bring jail and not bail, so that repeat offenders spend their time behind bars, not released back onto our streets. A full and complete ban on drug possession, not just the sale, but possession, and life sentences for anyone selling fentanyl above 40 milligrams, which is enough to kill 20 people. We need to put those people in jail and treat them like the mass murderers that they are. We also need to unlock the potential of our immigrant professionals. We have 20,000 immigrant doctors, 32,000 immigrant nurses, many of them from the Philippines, who cannot work in their field because they can't get a license to practice. About a year ago, 2 years ago, I think, the Filipino ambassador to Canada said that about 85% of Filipino nurses cannot work in their field here in Canada because they can't get licensed. And so where they have to work in the United States, they can get licensed in a couple of weeks, and they ultimately get jobs with higher incomes. Here, many of our best and most skillful nurses are stuck working lower wage jobs while we have a nursing shortage in our hospitals. So Conservatives are proposing to bring in a Blue Seal certification, which would allow anyone who comes from anywhere in the world to take a test, prove they are qualified, and get to work in nursing, as a doctor, in architecture, in engineering, or any other licensed profession. We already have this system for the trades. It's called the Red Seal for the trades, and you can get a license that applies all across Canada as an electrician, plumber, pipe fitter, carpenter. We need to do the same thing for the professions. And this would allow thousands of Filipino nurses to get working in our hospitals with higher wages and better care for all of us. This is the kind of win-win that we need to restore the promise of Canada, that anyone from anywhere can achieve anything, that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful home under our proud flag. That is our promise. Let's make it happen and keep the hope alive, keep the fight alive. Thank you very much.